Good morning. Welcome to Ag Talking to Raw, where I talk raw about agriculture and other things that are on my mind. So the other day I was doing a video from my telephone as I was coming in from, God, where was I coming in from? I was coming in from Virginia with the motorhome. And the title of the video was Dean Foods. So the minute I started talking politics, bam, they gobbled my balls, shut it down. I tried to, and I was in a perfect area, cell tower, cell service, 4 bars, we're good to go. Anyways, whatever happens there, happens there. So I just wanted to come back to it and talk a little bit about Dean Foods and, you know, how and why, because I never even did get to finish saying why I felt that, the dairy industry is going downhill. That's my buddy David Kaiser sending me a text message. I'm going to answer that one real quick because let's see what we got. Oh, yeah. So he was asking if I got all my equipment home okay. Of course, I've got like 4 more loads to go get. All right, so now I'm settled in here. So Dean Foods, I believe, was bought up by Walmart a couple of years ago, and they put a lot of dairies out of business. They just, well, I'd say put them out of business. They dropped them. You know, Land O'Lakes and Dean Foods, I don't know if they're together or not. Once we sold the cows, that was it. I was pretty much done dealing with the dairy side of agriculture because dairy, in my mind, the dairy farmers are the forgotten farmers. I still consider myself that, I guess. We were left high and dry. I mean, grain markets got pushed up and, they rise and fall, and you see some grain farmers, they get 4, 5, 6. When corn got to $6.50, $7 a bushel, then they were buying new equipment, putting up bins, new pickup trucks, and the lowly dairy farmer, that price never came up. It was a year lagging before they ever even hit $18 a hundred. So they're the forgotten dairy farms. So looking at it, it's like, well, why is the dairy industry going down? Why is milk consumption going down? And in my mind, it's quite simple. The competition for drinks and the usage of it, of what PETA hates us. They call it cow pus, which I found to be quite offensive because we tried to have a low somatic cell count and take good care of the animals so that they didn't have that element in the milk, but is what it is. The money that they take out of what they were taking out of our paycheck for the milk got to be so incredibly high that the people that were hauling it made more money. Well, I say the people that were hauling it. The milk haulers, they didn't make much money either on the hauling. So it's like, how is this even possible? So the creamery set the price of hauling, and then that the farmer had to pay in, and then the creamery subcontracted haulers to come and get it, and they were only getting about half of the money that they were charging us, so the creamery actually made more money. And then there's the advertisement money that they take out, and that turned into a substantial amount of money over the course of the year for advertising. So all dairy farmers, it goes on hundredweight as to how much they charged you. So the more milk you produced, the more they charged you. Same with the hauling and all the other funky, funny stuff that they did. They even had a fuel consumption tax on in our hauling, which when diesel fuel hit $5 back in, what the hell was it? It was right towards it was about the Obama years, the early Obama years. Fuel had gone down and then it spiked $4 or $5 a gallon. So they put a fuel tax on us, and we sold the cows in 2011 because we were paying $800 a month just for hauling. And we weren't really producing that much at that point. I think we were milking maybe 40 cows. That was it. My dad's knees were shot, and it just was other things. We were selling the grain because grain prices were higher than what the milk price was. When you're selling milk for the same price as what your grandfather did back in, we were selling milk for the same price that my grandparents were selling it for back in 1980, in the late 70s and 80s, $12, $13, $14 a hundred. It's crazy. So, Dean Foods, when was the last time you actually saw a commercial for milk that was exciting and catchy and, I mean, I see Gatorade, I see Monster, I see Red Bull. Red Bull's got some pretty interesting commercials. They're very simple, easy to produce. They're basically stick drawings, or what I would call stick drawings. And the one I saw last night several times as I was watching highlights of today's or yesterday's impeachment scam. The woman who had no firsthand knowledge of anything other than she knew that the people in Ukraine were saying mean, nasty things about President-elect Donald Trump. She was witness to that and did nothing about it, which that is her job to do something. She's supposed to be a bipartisan person. So anyways, you see a pig, a sheep, a cow, and I believe a turkey. And they had a can of Red Bull. So the pig drinks and gets his wings and he flies away. The sheep drinks, flies away, and the cow drinks and boom, flies away. But the turkey, the can's empty, and that's how we got the Thanksgiving turkey. Wow, isn't that amazing? We got a Thanksgiving turkey because of the because Red Bull. So, that sort of thing sticks in somebody's mind, and they're like, oh, I want wings. Kids, young, it's all targeting young folks. Old people know that milk does the body good, or it builds bone strength, and it doesn't promote osteoporosis like these carbonated drinks because it's phosphoric acid that they use to make the fizz in the soft drinks. But there it is. So why are people drinking less milk? It's because there just isn't any incentive or any thrill to it. It's like, oh, it comes from a cow. Why would I drink that stuff? Oh, it's cow pus. When you've got the major networks with PETA advertisements saying that, oh, dairy cows are all abused animals and you don't want to drink that. And it even goes into the fast food joints. You know that milk is not even listed on the menu? Because I was in McDonald's day before yesterday. I was coming home with those two tractors, and I just looked. I went to McDonald's, and I'm like, I wonder if they got milk on there. It wasn't even on the menu. You have to ask for it, and who's going to ask for milk when you've got these bright, colorful soft drinks like High C, which, High C was something that, I saw High C when I got my Dr. Pepper, because I don't particularly like milk that's store-bought. If there's a dairyman down the road here, if I get the chance, I'd go in and get raw milk because that's just the better stuff, and I just can't stand that pasteurized, homogenized shit. And that could very well be a reason why milk has, people don't drink milk. Timothy drinks a lot of milk, though. So, yeah, so that's what I was talking about, what the whole Dean Foods thing was. And, it's a shame because all the small family farms, they're done. They're the small family dairy farms. They're pretty well done. If they're not done, they are not doing as well as, say, crop farmers. Even hay farmers are hit hard too, because as the dairies go down, quality alfalfa, clover, and other legumes and hay products are no longer in that much of a demand. Even for me, I sold to beef cows. I sold to dairies back 10 years ago. Beef cows. There was a young lady up here, and even her pay got delayed. I wasn't getting paid for the product as well as I'd like to be. I mean, when you're owed $7,000 to $12,000 for good quality hay, and you even put a tarp on it so that it would stay good for the person, and then it comes down to it that you got to wait 6 months to get paid, and then it's some of it was bad. Well, it wasn't bad when I put it there, and how you store it is your business, not mine. My business is to get you a quality product, and then your business is to keep it quality. If you don't keep it quality, don't come back on me. And so I decided back then, that was the last animal feed that I was going to sell. Honestly, unless they come begging and they've got cash in their hands, I'm not selling them hay. Forget it. It just doesn't make any sense to me. You know, the dairy industry has been, these guys have been so beat up, and I'm sure there's some dairy farmers out there that may or may not agree with me on this one, but you guys have been you've been the whipping boy for a long time, and it sucks because they take the most advantage of the dairymen, and they just make your lives a living hell because they say, oh, well, you got the highest price in history. Well, yeah, when you have, say, $20 a hundred, and then it swings down to $9.50, and the average is 2 cents higher than it's ever been, or a half a penny more than it's ever been in the history of record keeping with dairy farms. Yeah, that's the highest price in history. Yeah, you received $20, but you only got 2 cents or 100 or a half a cent more per hundredweight than you did at the height of milk production back in 1994 or 94, 95. I think that's about the time that milk had really hit the highs, you know. And I think it's 95. 95 was a good year. Corn was $5.50 a bushel, and we made money on milk, and it was pretty good. And we had a truck driver back then who seemed to be a total douchebag. It was in 94, 95. He just didn't trust our thermometer. My aunt was the New Jersey milk inspector, and she had federal ratings, so she was federal and state milk inspector. And he'd come in and stick his thermometer in the tank and then write that the milk was too warm, and my aunt would have to get home from work, come out, check the milk temperature. We set the temperature down, what the hell do you want it, 30, 34? I think it's 34, something silly like that. We set it down to almost freezing, and then when he would pull milk out of the tank, you would see it frozen on the sides, and he was telling us that it was too warm. That bulk tank driver, he was this close to getting thrown into that tank and with the milk in it because it was starting to piss me off, and his attitude was just shitty. I forget his name, but if I ever saw him again, I'd know exactly who he was. And it wasn't his job. His job was to read the temperature on the milk and read the temperature. Nobody ever stuck a thermometer in that milk bulk tank until this guy. And then he, you know, but the bulk tanks have their thermometers right on the side, and my aunt would calibrate with her thermometer, which is calibrated through the state and the federal government, and she would calibrate to the thermometer on the bulk tank. Now, why he would do this, it was beyond me, because he knew that she was going to debunk him. Anyways, that would prompt the milk inspector to come out. Of course, not her, because it had to be a milk inspector from the creamery to come out and check the tank and make sure that it was right. And this went on for about 6 months before I think we pretty much told him that we're going to kill this guy. You know, it was pretty crazy. But anyways, he did leave our system. But we get the shit kicked out of us all the time as dairymen. They wanted us to put in parlor manure storage. Parlors are cleaner than stanchion barns. They are. You know, it's just easier to maintain the animals that way. You can, everything's at a decent level versus the stanchions and the gutters and all that crap. They have their loafing pens, and you know, it's. I personally find that a parlor setup is much better than a stanchion setup. If you're still milking in stanchions, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just antiquated, and there are better ways of doing it. But the money isn't there to put in that parlor, whether it's a carousel or just a 6-on-6, you know, or 12-on-12. Some of them are 12-on-12s now. Yeah, I mean, I'd have been perfectly happy with a 6-stall, parlor, six based parlor. You know, they hose them off. It's just cleaner. Yeah, I mean, it just is. And here comes my sexy wife and son. I know there was a fella from the electrician down at Laurel Valley said that my wife is beautiful, and she is.
Good morning.
Good morning. Give me kisses. Mwah. He doesn't like kisses from Dad. Do ya? Don't fall down the stairs. It hurts. Trust me. So yeah, so that's what's on my mind today. On in the political theater or the political side of it, you try watching these things with an open mind, but when you see the one-sided stacked against the opposition to their agenda going on, you just want to take a brick and throw it at that bug-eyed pencil-neck piece of shift that's up there in the middle. Anybody that feels that he is doing the country justice by his rules of, I don't know, what would you call those rules? Bullshit. I don't see anything positive, fair, and see, justice is supposed to be blind. Now, this is not an impeachment trial. This is an impeachment inquiry. So what they are doing is they are saying, well, this is for the impeachment of Donald J. Trump. They want him to be impeached. The Dems do. They've wanted him impeached since the day he was elected. The day after he was elected, they were circulating impeachment as on the horizon. They just don't like the guy. I don't know why they don't like the guy. He works a lot. And I was reading some of the comments on one of the videos that I watched. It's like, I won't get into it. It's a friend of mine. So, but anyways, on his video, they're like, oh yeah, they're flying the president in a Black Hawk helicopter, and you know who I'm talking about, to go play golf. And of course he plays golf. He owns golf courses. There's one right up here in Bedminster. They're in Florida. They're all over the place. Trump National golf courses. That's what they are. They're everywhere. That's what he likes to do. But have you ever witnessed a president that actually does the things that this man is doing? I mean, he's working in Washington, then he's getting on an airplane to fly to Louisiana, or to fly to Florida to meet with, who was he meeting with? Senior citizens down in Florida, and then on his airplane to go to like Louisiana to do a rally, and then back to the White House because he's there the next morning to have a press conference with the media that absolutely wants him to be beheaded on film. And that's what they want. They would love for some ISIS guy to come and behead the president on the south lawn of the White House, because that would be, like this. That would be like the climax to their orgasm. That's what that would be. So he does all this stuff. Now, Obama, biggest news he had was when, he golfed 365 days in 8 years. 365 days of that man's presidency was golf. I don't know how many days of golf the president, our current president, Donald Trump, I don't know how many days of golfing he has done. I don't think it's even 100 that's 365 days in 8 years. Wow. That's a lot of days. But even if he did, so he goes, he's allowed to take the weekends. That's 2 weekends, 2 days a week that he's allowed to say, hey, you know what, I'm not doing anything. But yet, on Saturday, he's working. On Sunday, he's working. When he goes to Mar-a-Lago or wherever, it's a big deal. Oh my God, the president just went to Florida. He's playing golf. Do half of the stuff that man did at my age, and you're going to be tired. He's 73 years old. This dude is going like a freaking 40, I shouldn't even say that, 25-year-old. This man just goes. If you've never been on an airplane, you can't understand what jet lag is. But if you've been on an airplane and flown to the places that this man has flown to and then worked all day, it's daylight and he's working. He's talking with leaders and meeting with soldiers and doing all this stuff. And then he flies back and it's like, I'm good. I just keep working. Man, when I fly to the Philippines, it's, your eyes are falling out of your head. Or even to go to England, you fly in there, you take the red eye, you try to sleep, and then you wake up, you land and it's daylight there. And then it's like, wow, it's daylight, so I'm going to work. Well, there's a 6 or 7 hour difference there compared to the United States. So the daylight is longer. It's like midnight, and you're like, or it's 6 in the afternoon, and it's midnight in your body, and you have to adjust. It's kind of tough. Nothing like the Philippines. The Philippines is 12 hours difference. You get there, it's daylight. You feel like you just had your balls kicked up to your teeth, and you're like, oh my God, I got to muscle my way through this, because if I don't, I'm going to be, I'm going to miss out on the first 4 or 5 days of the trip. So you have to force yourself to, stay awake so that, the transition is much faster. It's a day for every hour of difference. So going there, you force yourself to stay awake. It takes about 4 days to get somewhat normalized. But there's a lot of neat things you can do at night when you're over there, though. It's like, oh, wow, this is awesome, because I can do this, and I can do this in the middle of the night. You can go down to McDonald's. It's open 24/7, and get yourself the BFF. You don't know what a BFF is? You don't know what you're missing. Anyways, I will leave it at that. But and then, of course, you get into the daily routine of the Philippines, and then it's, But then coming back, it takes you like 2 weeks to get your shit together, because you're trying to work, and you got to go home early because you're just whooped. So, but I do that at the time of year that is really, really interesting. Like that transition before winter work is done and spring work starts, and and we're gonna have fun. We're gonna leave in February, right, Teresa?
Yep.
February, we're gonna go. We'll be there for 2 weeks, possibly more. I don't know. I think we're gonna be there for 18 days now, a little more than 2 weeks.
18 days.
18 days. We'll be gone for 18 days. And, it should be good. So anyways, with that being said, stop watching this shift show. Honest to Pete, it makes your stomach turn. If the Democrats move for impeachment, then there's going to be an impeachment trial. Then the Republicans can actually are supposed to be able to cross-examine these witnesses on a. It's still a card stacked against them impeachment trial, but once it goes to the Senate, they haven't proved anything impeachable. These high crimes and misdemeanors, that's, I don't know. I'd really like to see that firsthand. I'm just happy that everything is going the way it's going. We've had peace, prosperity, and now we just need to get the USMCA. I love it when there's a Democrat comes onto my channel and says, "Oh, yeah, you love Trump. Look what he's doing to the farmers." Well, actually, quite honestly, what he's doing for the farmers is positive. The reason that prices are still where they're at is because of the Democrats. The Democrats control the House, and what the president's plans and negotiates have to go through the House and then to the Senate and then passed, and then he has to sign them into law once they pass the House and the Senate. But you know what? They can't get past the House because they're all impeach, 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 impeach. They don't do anything. They're do-nothing Democrats. So anyways, thanks for watching. Please comment, rate, and subscribe for more. And don't forget to check out One Lonely Farmer. If you haven't subscribed here, please do so. If not, you know what? That's okay too. I really don't care. I just come here to express myself and enjoy the lovely comments that are about to happen right there. Anyways, thanks again.